It's time to talk about the future of World of Tanks console, and of course I want your opinions in the comment section down below as we go through this video on the various topics that we cover. We're going to cover 5 different topics in today's video, and let's get right into it. So the premise of today's video is primarily about making sure that we give Wargaming some really good ideas as to what we want to see in the game as a community, and I'm sure that many of you will be leaving them down below like I mentioned earlier. However, one thing that I want to highlight within this video as a first topic that we're going to talk about is releasing kind of events and game modes that are novel, unique. Things like, if you've ever watched World of Tanks PC or any of the other versions, things like Frontline, the game mode where you can play in a variety of different ways, where you have additional game modes that aren't just your standard assault, encounter, standard battle that we currently have within the game, where maybe they have limited time events like Frontline and various different other aspects that you can kind of play and enjoy throughout the period of time that you play World of Tanks. I think that would be very good. And of course we could even have game modes that are primarily based upon, I don't know, real life battles or some specific maps and stuff. I know back in the day we used to have things like that coming into World of Tanks. However, unfortunately in recent years it just hasn't happened. We've only really been getting, in the last year and a half since update 6.0 and all of that catastrophe, we've basically just been getting the maps back and very little else in terms of content, other than a few new tank lines that have kind of been in the process for like the last 3 years that Wargaming have been developing them. So new game modes is something that I really want to see within the game. The second thing that I think would be really crucial in terms of being able to participate in clans and actually make clans a little bit more useful within the game, other than having the fact that sometimes when you platoon up, and you don't even need to be in a clan to do that, you can essentially earn a little bit more silver and XP, but that's not related to your clan. And actually, in all intents and purposes, clans are almost entirely pointless, other than the fact that you can have a little clan tag, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't actually do anything. And so if they emphasised clans whereby you could find out where your clan ranks, or maybe you can find out various different other things that are going to help you out whilst actually playing, even if they added an option to have a chat that is kind of like your clan chat that you can see within the garage menu, where you can talk to people in your clan, coordinate, maybe people want to platoon up at the same time. At the moment you can't even see who's online in your clan. The actual clans within console, I'm not going to lie, are terrible. They are almost garbage in terms of the content that you get out of them. Yes, you can join in, yes, you can get a clan tag, but that is essentially it. There is nothing else other than the fact of maybe prestige for those clans that are like the highest. But at current pace we can't even see who the highest ranked clan is within World of Tanks console. So yeah, it's not particularly that good anyway. So that's something I'd like to see within the next year or so, some kind of emphasis on clans, on community, and being able to interact with players in the game, because at the minute you can't even talk to very many people in the game, at least communicate effectively, because you have to use the voice chat. There is no text chat or anything that you can kind of use. Even if it may not be the easiest to use on console, it could definitely help people out in scenarios where maybe you got taken out and you want to convey a message to the people without having to just spam on the map and stuff like that, and you can only make 2 different callouts once you get taken out anyway. So yeah, I really hope that Wargaming improve this kind of system within the game. The third thing is that we're going to be talking about today is rewards, and I'm not talking about, you know, being able to play and receive like overpowered rewards that are going to give you tons of premium time. I'm simply talking about what we've talked about before, which is in the case of being able to grind through a series of objectives, long term, short term, intermediate, player rewards or player objectives, you know, class based objectives, various different objectives that you can complete throughout your time of playing the game, which kind of focus on giving you specific rewards that you can use to your advantage, or just as a cosmetic kind of apparel that you can have within the game. And I really hope that Wargaming introduce these long-term missions where, you know, you can get specific things that showcase your prestige within the game of playing various different classes. Obviously you can retroactively add them in, so if anyone's played like 10,000 battles in tank destroyers, you can get the reward that gives you the emblem of having X, Y and Z, or alternatively you can get a camo that gives you X, Y and Z, or whatever it might be that Wargaming introduces the reward. Some sort of cosmetic would be cool. And even if it's not a cosmetic, maybe introducing reward vehicles, which is something that World of Tanks PC has taken into, then I think that would also be very, very good, whereby you can complete a series of missions and everyone has the opportunity to do them. Yes, we have the mercenary contracts, but I'm thinking more for a kind of non-mercenary style tank where they're in a similar manner. I hope that actually comes into the game, and I really hope that Wargaming kind of take what we're giving them here, because it would actually improve the user experience a lot more, and of course actually kind of my want to play the game, because once you've achieved a lot of tier 10s, the whole point in playing the game is to kind of grind through or work towards something, and if you've kind of already done it all, then you have no real reason to actually play other than the fact that you get annoyed over various different aspects of the game and you want to improve as a player. Maybe introducing these could help bring back some of those veteran players who don't really have a point in playing the game anymore. Now, one topic that kind of segues from another one is the ability to find people within the game. I think that this is a very underrated aspect of World of Tanks, whereby if you were able to jump onto your console, whether you're on PS4 or you're on Xbox One, and then you were to go to some specific function that allowed you to actually find platoon mates that are looking to play in the same tier, the same kind of era, whatever you're playing, whether you're playing World War II, Cold War, whatever the case may be on World of Tanks console, you can search for someone with the specific kind of filter that gives you a list of people that maybe want to play the same tier. You then just join them up and you can play in a platoon with them, because this would essentially give you the opportunity to meet people within the game if you really want to, and allow you to learn from others. If you kind of an experienced player and you fancy actually teaching some people a thing or two about how not to suck in the game, then definitely this is something that I think would be beneficial. And not even if you were just looking to get better, just as a case of being a social event where you can meet people that actually know who like what the game is and actually be able to play together. I think that would be really, really good. Just as like I know Xbox has the looking for function where you can find people on there who are similar players that want to find out and play World of Tanks console, but maybe make it a feature within the game where you can kind of randomly search for a platoon, join it up, and then you can have some games together, and maybe then you might join a clan or something, and that kind of leads back into the clan idea and having a better community features within the game to really get people hooked into the game and play the game and overall spend more money on the game, which is what Wargaming want at the end of the day. The next important thing that I think Wargaming could introduce is some form of communication between the developers and the community and everyone that plays in the game, because the game players are the ones that actually play the game. Those who go onto YouTube, such as yourself who's watching a video like this, we're only a minority of the players that actually play the game, so Wargaming typically just throw us in the bin when it comes to our suggestions for the most part. So if they were able to create a system where we can actually feedback as all of the players within the game, like a feedback section, a poll section within the actual game itself, that Wargaming can create a poll. Do you want to see this coming into the game in the next couple of months? Everyone can vote in it in the game. You know, you can choose whatever you play, whether you play tier 1 to 2 if you're a veteran player and you own those. If you have just started the game, you can vote on certain systems and you can vote on the variety of different aspects about World of Tanks console. I think that would be super, super useful, and of course actually allow us to voice our opinions for once, that Wargaming may actually be able to take into account rather than just usually disregarding our opinions, even though like when it comes down to the polls that they usually release, it's like 90% in favour of one thing. Wargaming are then like, let's just pull out some statistics and say that actually no, that 90% is actually like 39%, because we've just said like not everyone's going to vote, and therefore we're only going to then apply the 90% to the 40% that has actually voted. And yeah, it just ends up being like this fudged number by Wargaming where they're like, yeah, we're not going to do anything, even though the majority of players that took the poll actually voted in the direction against what Wargaming wanted to do, and therefore they just run with what they wanted to do in the first place. At least then we'd have an opportunity to go and, well, actually no, 59% of players in the game who have played the game and don't have to go onto external websites have voted this is what they want. So you can't then go, actually only blah 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 have voted and therefore we're not going to even take you into consideration, which seems to be what Wargaming have done a lot in the past, and hopefully that can kind of be removed by adding a community feature within the game, even if you could incorporate it as like a community 2.0 version where the update brings into both these poll systems, the looking for group, the ability to kind of join clans and stuff. If they were to bunch all of those into one update, the user or the actual value that they'd be providing for the users of their game, the players of their game, would be so massive that this would actually improve everyone's experience whilst actually playing, the ability to learn, everything. It could be so good if they packaged it all as one update. It can apply to both World War II, Cold War, and although there is no monetizable aspect inherently from doing something like that, the actual value to the player base and the benefit that they're going to get are going to make them want to actually play the game, pay more money, and therefore you kind of can't see the direct return from the investment in time in development, but overall you still have to make a good game for people to actually play it, and hopefully Wargaming look at doing something in this region. I will try and actually type this all up for Wargaming and release it to them as our kind of opinion. I'll obviously take into account your comments in the comment section down below as to what you think, and hopefully we can kind of come up with a system, and maybe Wargaming may just take it into account, but yeah, given their track record, probably not. But other than that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, and of course if you want to check out the latest update that will be coming out tomorrow as of the recording of this video, then check out this on the left hand side of the screen, and on the right hand side of the screen we have a variety of how to get better at World of Tanks guides that you can have a look at as well. So thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.